Well, good morning. We're back at it again.
We're attempting numero dos.
This is number 2. We're doing a number 2 here because the number 1 was rudely interrupted.
All over the floor.
All over the floor. All over the floor. There's doo-doo and feces all over the walls.
Completely missed the toilet.
Completely. So we tried to record the podcast yesterday, but we had a special guest, my puppy, 4-month-old, and he was not letting us do it to our full potential.
He's retarded.
He's a little retarded. So he's a Shih Tzu, and he just had. Well, no, he's actually a really bright dog.
Yeah.
He's a potential Rhodes Scholar. Down
Rhodes Scholar.
He's a rough scholar. Jesus Christ. I was gonna go there, but he got his first grooming session, and his eyes were clear of the hair that was in them, and so you could see his eyes. And I don't know if anyone who's ever owned a Shih Tzu before, but I tell you, those eyes look a little bit. He has that look on his face where he just looks. He looks like he's looking left and right at the same time. So he's a good dog, though. I love him.
These are just jokes, folks.
Just jokes. We're not talking about people. We're talking about dogs. And is it safe to call dogs a little bit retarded? Maybe.
It's only funny when you say retarded.
Retarded. That's true. You can't say retard, but you can say retard.
He's a retard.
Or you could say he's a retard.
Now he's French.
Well, retard that's just a word for slow. It's This is the dictionary. There's nothing controversial about this. I learned that in 11th grade. And it's spelled the same way, too.
Right.
Know? But, so we're trying it again. We're trying it again. We'll see how this goes. You still can't get over the R word, huh?
9.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I saw the Pasha this morning. Pasha link you sent me. And you know what? I knew about that. I knew about that place. I remember looking it up.
I didn't know everything that happened since COVID, though.
I didn't. There's something more happened since COVID?
I mean, apparently they went bankrupt. 120 of the prostitutes weren't paid.
Okay, well, before we get into let's understand here what we're talking about. So the Pasha, for the uninitiated.
Yeah, we start off with a retard.
Yeah, now we're going to Pasha. So retard, it's the different dictionary. The dictionary definition for slow. Anyways, so the Pasha, for the uninitiated, in Cologne, Germany, there's a high-rise on the outskirts of the city. It's on city land, actually. So I was reading the Wikipedia entry you sent me. Essentially, the Pasha replaced the red light district in Cologne's downtown, because Cologne said, no, listen, we don't. If you want to pay for sex, it's fine. You just can't do it here in the city center. So we're going to give you a plot of land just outside the city. City-owned land, and you can build a high-rise. So now it's just a high-rise full of hookers, or prostitutes, sex workers, geishas. Let's just call it concubines. Let's get more appropriate here. Really? Anyways, so the Pasha, it's like seven stories or something like that, and they have like, lower tier where you can bargain. You can get the bargain brand girls, and you negotiate for lower prices. But as you go up on the higher tiers, the women there are more expensive, right? But each woman, I guess, according to the Wikipedia entry, has the ability to negotiate with the John, right? And they have the ability to set their own prices. And so they pay a set fee every month to the Pasha, which will include like the city leisure tax of €6. Room and board kind of thing, because apparently a lot of the girls live there, or they'll rent multiple rooms there. But they even have like ladyboy rooms or ladyboy floors, where the whole floor is dedicated to ladyboys. So, and that's what the Thai call them, right? So this is politically correct. Anyways, Um, yeah, so I didn't know that. It was had some issues. Was it during COVID?
Yeah.
What, so it went bankrupt?
Went bankrupt. Something like they weren't paying taxes. They had to sell. Sold to Chinese businessmen.
Uh-oh.
And it turns out these Chinese businessmen are actually Chinese triads. And yeah, now it's completely sideways.
Well, there you go. But see, the thing about those types of vice industries, no matter how sanitary you try to portray it or how clean you try to operate it, I think eventually it just runs into problems. I just, there's vice is a dangerous game, and it might be a slippery slope, and I'll acknowledge that, but it just seems like anytime you have something where it's a human vice is involved, there's many gateways to corruption or some sort of illicit part of their business and industry. And like the thing about the weed industry in California, for example, I would say weed and even tobacco, they're vices, right? But you see some of the dispensaries are like, I saw something crazy. 50% of the dispensaries are closing because they can't keep up with the California regulatory. And so now, because there's, less supply, less people in the industry, there's a higher illicit trade now than it was in years past after legalization. But yeah, it's just crazy.
Is that planned, Brian?
I can neither say here nor there. Potentially, but who knows? I don't want to speculate and go down this rabbit hole.
Prostitution, legal weed, religion, same shit.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I think there's you have this.
Somebody's getting fucked.
Someone's gonna get fucked. Exactly. And if it's at the Pasha, 3 of them are German women.
They're usually not German women, but that's another point.
Well, so they had the reason I say 3 is very intentional because 3 and 10 rather are German, and there's like 120 concubines. Prostitutes is such a funny word. It just sounds so like, hey, what do you do for work? I'm in accounting. Oh, cool. What about you? Oh, I'm an EMT. Oh, great, cool. What about you? I'm a prostitute. Sex worker sounds more dignified. What career are you in? I'm a sex worker. Oh, I'm a pleasure giver.
I send feet of my picture.
I send feet of picture. Make money. Buy cars. Not Datsuns, though.
Oh, boy.
Anyways, so yeah, it just gives you an idea. There's so many different career paths for people out there, A lot of opportunities. A lot of opportunities for the fine women of the world.
In Cologne,
Germany.
Gay capital of the world.
Is it?
It's pretty gay.
My wife and I went there. We liked it quite a bit. The Dom Church is really beautiful there.
Yeah.
And the old town is nice and everything. But it was definitely more like L.A. than other cities that we went to.
It's like the San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's very gay, bro.
Well, I know most of the German film industry and television industry is there. So that kind of makes sense. Yeah. That checks out. But yeah, Germany is a great country, though. I love Germany. As a visitor, I can't say what it's like to live there. I stayed there for 3 weeks.
How long ago?
It was pre-COVID. Actually,
Right.
It was actually right before COVID in some ways. It was October 2019.
So the Muslim invasion hadn't happened?
I wouldn't say that. Obviously, because the Middle Eastern conflicts. I mean, if you go back to Iraq, but the main movers of immigration was in 2012, 2011, the Arab Spring. So I think Germany already had pretty large amount of immigrant population in Berlin, and I remember specifically in Berlin, you saw a lot of Syrian nationals there. So I don't know what it's like now, but my experience there, I think was really great. I'm wondering if it's just the major cities that are affected by like the effects of immigration versus like you got smaller towns in southern Germany and Bavaria. But I'm sure all the major city centers for sure. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. Some people would say good, some people would say bad. I think you can make an argument for both of it. I know we've talked about how we got there a little bit, but it's just a consequence. But it's funny we talked about that. There was a video I watched recently. I can't remember who it was, but they were saying, hey, you can make the argument that the West caused some of those things, and I think there's really valid arguments on that point. But what they didn't have to do is completely proliferate their borders and let everybody in, because you see the difference. Hungary, for example, said no, we're not going to do this, and you see that they're doing pretty well in terms of their, I guess, cultural cohesion is better than the rest of Europe in a lot of ways, or other countries who did accept large amounts of immigrants.
But is Hungary part of the EU?
Yeah. Probably to the dismay of many. Yeah, probably to the dismay of many. I don't think people are very happy with Hungary for the most part. But the Hungarians love it, so that's cool. But, yeah, man. Crazy world. But I would like to go back to Germany, definitely. Go to the Christmas markets one year. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
The Weimar Republic.
The Weimar Republic, very nice. Although I wonder what it would have been like to live in the Weimar Republic. Because there's some aspects of it you look like, oh man, that would have been pretty fun to stay in.
With the Jews? Or without the Jews?
The Weimar Republic, pre-World War II, buddy. So of course, with the Jews. I think it'd been interesting. But especially just to, imagine being a fly on the wall of everything building up, like to the Great World War II.
A lot of conspiracy here, Brian. I don't know if we want to touch it.
I don't think we want to touch it. But still, just interesting history.
For those of you interested in banking, please look that up. Just look it up. Just look it up. I'm not going to say anything else. Just look it up.
Yeah. Anyways, we were having a conversation yesterday. I'd like to continue that.
Okay.
I think it'd be good.
Santa Claus.
Sandy Claus.
We're still going back to the damn Germans again?
We're not even talking about German. We're not talking about Santa Claus. We are talking about the Christmas spirit, though.
Oh.
Because when do you think we release
Christmas
it
or Christian?
Christmas.
Oh.
Yeah. Christmas spirit. No, but when do you think we'll post this video? Probably in like a week, huh?
As soon as I can edit it.
Okay, there we go. Well, listen. So we were talking yesterday, and it surprised you. I just started reading a book, How to Win Friends and Gain Influence. I think that's the name of it.
No.
It's
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
And influence people, yeah. You know what I'm talking about. But man, what an interesting. I just started it, so I'm only through the first few chapters. But man, what an interesting book, dude. I mean, and some of it seems so common sense. Like you're like, oh fuck, that made sense. And one of the points I was talking about yesterday is that he distinguishes that, or he makes the observation that humans were not logical. We're not logical beings. Mm-hmm. And that may or may not be true, but I think what is very true is that when it comes to our emotions, for the most part, we're very rational. Hmm. And he used it, he framed it kind of this way, in the sense that, say, for example, you did something wrong. I think most people can recognize and understand when they did something wrong, whether it was in their work, maybe they made a mistake, whatever the case may be. And his point was, I think that person knows that they did something wrong. So if you then put that person on the defense, even if they know they've done something wrong, you're not going to win them over because now their whole posture towards you is defensive, right? And so he had this really great example I thought was wonderful. And he goes, there's a pilot. He had some passengers on the plane. He was doing a demonstration. And the mechanic put in the wrong fuel for the aircraft. And so as the plane was in the air, it obviously had malfunctions because it had the wrong fuel. Almost crashed, but fortunately the pilot, pretty dialed in, was able to land it safely. And so the mechanic knows he fucked up. He knows the sort of brevity of how everything looks and his mistake and his role in that mistake. And so the pilot comes into the hangar. He sees the mechanic, and he's walking right over, and the mechanic thinks he's going to get reamed. He's going to get fucking ass handed to him. And I think most people say rightfully so, right? Like, how's this person ever going to learn? But the pilot, he had this opportunity. He had a choice to make. How is he going to react to this? Is he going to be a total dickhead, which some would say probably had the right to be a dickhead, or is he going to approach it differently? And so he looked at the mechanic, and he said something to the effect of, hey, tomorrow when you're going to put the right fuel in my aircraft. And so it said, hey, look, it obviously recognized that he made a mistake, but it also gave him this opportunity to, hey, here's an opportunity to do better. And does that work for everyone? I don't know. But I just thought that was and reflecting on that in my own life, you remember most negative interactions you've had with people. I mean, you remember what was even said, right? And you remember how it made you feel. And, I mean, it's crazy how powerful negative emotions are and sort of shaping your framework of something, right? And your interactions with people. And so, this different path, though, like when someone makes a mistake, you have this different path, a different opportunity to do something different, could leave a really lasting impact. I mean, I imagine being a kid and someone fucking treating me like dog shit. That's not going to inspire me. In fact, that's going to make me hate that person. You know what I mean? Oh, there's some Benson and Hedges right there. Is that what they sell? Or is that just a pack?
Quiet, Brad.
Hey. You have a permit for that?
Always.
But I think that was really good. That was really interesting. It reminded me of the Maya Angelou quote. And I know I said this yesterday too, but people don't remember necessarily what you said to them, but they always remember how you made them feel. Mm-hmm. And so it's like you have an opportunity every day to make someone feel good about the interaction you've had. And so the takeaway for me was, hey, when especially this season, man, like this is a crazy time of year. Like there's a lot of people have the capacity to do a lot of great things and coalesce around the traditions and the ideas of what the holiday season is. But then at the same token, you got a lot of dickheads out there. And so I think it's a good reminder for people like in this time of season and taking that and sort of setting the tone for the following year is, hey, let's be kind to people. Like it's such a basic tenet. Even when you're done wrong, like, I mean, we talked offline prior to the show. You had an interaction with someone and it left a really nasty taste in your mouth. And here goes the thing, you're going to remember that for a long time. Like, probably forever. You'll always remember that moment and how it made you feel. Even if after all of that, all said and done, like, that relationship is fine. Like, I remember that fucking day. What an asshole. And so I think it's just a reminder, man, like, part of what we do is trying to, give a different context and give people a different idea about how to approach situations in their life. And just a little bit of kindness works, man. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I've been rambling.
That's okay. No, I agree. Dale Carnegie's course was pretty influential for a lot of people in the U.S. in the 1930s 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even maybe into the 70s.
Yeah.
But it kind of died out. So, I mean, the book still survives.
Yeah, the one I've started reading was a 2022 reprint with some updates. But they changed. I guess there was an 80s version that they changed it a little bit. Kind of took some of the original flair out. So they brought back most of that original 30s flair. And it's crazy to think that book was written in the 30s.
Yeah.
And that he was doing his lectures, nearly 2 decades prior to the book being written, which is wild to think about too. Insane. And so you were saying?
So, I mean, in business, this is a pretty standard book that you have to read.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to be an executive or you want to run something, you want to run a company, you want to have people, you want to have some sort of influence.
Yeah.
And so this is a good tool to kind of understand people if you haven't yet analyzed enough people yet.
Yeah.
And so one of the more famous students of Carnegie is Warren Buffett. And so Buffett was saying that this is probably one of the most important books for him because this is what allowed him to become a public speaker. Otherwise, he just would have been a desk hermit. And it's very difficult to get the desk hermit away from his work.
Yeah.
And they usually don't want to talk. And so this class was, or course was something that challenged him to learn how to speak to people.
Yeah.
And instead of talking at people, talking to people. And so just little slight changes in understanding, your motivation, what you want to get, and how to get it is basically how this course starts framing conversations. And it's also your favorite word, trying to be charitable to people.
Yeah.
So trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's like ancient Calvinism or Lutheranism making its way through. But definitely it's a tried and true book.
Yeah.
To get you on your feet to understanding how to deal with people.
Yeah.
So famously, something that I remembered was like Wells Fargo got caught. Wells Fargo being one of Buffett's investments.
Yeah.
And so using the playbook, right, of Carnegie, Buffett was questioned. Now that Wells Fargo is caught with all this fraud, because they were caught.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you going to sell? Like, are you going to get rid of your position or what? And he said, no, in fact, I would double down and buy more because the people who caused the problem are out and the people who are controlling it now know that this mess up is going to create more scrutiny. And so they're not going to make another mess up like that again. That was the logic.
Yeah.
In theory. Don't trust Wells Fargo. Anyways. That's a whole nother thing. But his approach as, one of the bigger principled investors was to say, no, I'm going to have faith that the cancer is out and these people are going to continue doing their job and doing their job at a high level and not fraudulently. I have faith that they learned their lesson, just like the mechanic. He's not going to put, the wrong kind of fuel.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's a good book, but it goes down to your motivations of confronting and talking with people.
Yeah.
And so if you're in that position where you're a business owner, your motivations are usually pretty clear. Like you're trying to make a sale, and if you're trying to make a sale, you're trying to make it in a human kind of way, not a $19.99, call now.
For the low, low price of 3 easy payments of $19.99.
Do you get what I mean? Like, this is more of an approach of when you're making a sale, you're going to them, you're talking to them, you're getting to know them.
Yeah.
That's the underlying,
Sure.
reasoning for it. And I mean, yeah.
No, I mean, it's good. I definitely see some of the, I see the value in a lot of that. I mean, I think, obviously that's the context, right? Like, Carnegie had initially was teaching courses, things like that, and his courses all started out just public speaking, and throughout the years of teaching those courses and getting feedback from his students, he added and changed it, and really developed this philosophy that culminates with the book, right? And even further beyond that, but it's crazy to think though. There is that element though that, like the Wells Fargo example, Buffett said, well, they were caught with fraud, but then Wells Fargo does bad things later, right? So at what point do you still give someone the benefit of doubt, but when do you rescind that? It's a interesting thought, because if you continue the bad behavior to permeate, like what does that benefit you, right? And maybe that's a selfish part, maybe that's not even the right question, but at some point I think there is a balance there between allowing the behavior to continue versus giving the benefit of the doubt for something that happened. Who knows? But the other thing too is, if you're a parent and these are your kids, right? I mean, you give them the benefit of the doubt, but you're still gonna. I think it's kind of different than a business relationship, because, a business relationship you can walk away from. You can't really walk away from your kids in the same way. So, I think it's important to develop those connections and really try to figure out with the person when something is going wrong. But I see that as a I don't know about a weakness, but definitely questions like, what do you do when you have that? And maybe he answers in his book, because I haven't read it all yet. So, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, when there is bad behavior and something isn't corrected, what's the fix?
Depends on the person.
I mean, that makes sense.
Because, it's part of the problem with, like, the analogy with Wells Fargo that, like, fails is Wells Fargo is a business, right?
Yeah.
And so inherently and not only a business, they are a public company. And so public companies are built with the intention to grow value for their shareholders. And so if I'm growing value for my shareholders, means I know that in order for me to show the right profit for this quarter, I got to cheat a little bit. Then that's morally on the business, morally on the people running it, morally. Yeah. But inherently, the business is the one that's pushing this incentive, this drive, right? And so, our corporation's evil, Brian. Our public corporation's evil, Brian.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say they're evil, but it's kind of like what we talked about with Vice, right? Like, there's always going to be that element where it's open for ripe corruption. And if you're, I mean, that's a serious question. It's hard to answer, because if your sole goal is to make money, it's kind of like AI. AI's sole goal is to expand, and there's no, like, I don't think the business sees it as, morally right or wrong. I think we attribute those values to it, right? Because if they're saying our only goal is to make money and bring value to our shareholders, really, what's the limiting principle? You have none, generally speaking, right? I mean, you can have values and mission statements and all those things, but if you're not living up to those values and you're still making money at no matter what cost, then yeah, I mean, I think definitely that's probably, you need to readjust what your values are. But then if the whole point is to make money, and values are those safeguards that, make you do it the right way, but then you make money at a slower rate. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't think the corporation would see what they're doing is necessarily wrong because it's bringing value to the shareholders. I don't see it that way. I mean, I think people should act in a moral way. But I mean, it's just kind of the way it is. I mean, we've talked about this quite a bit, like in the sense that if you have an objective principle that everyone follows, that those are your safeguards. But if there's no objective guiding principle that glues together everyone, then I mean, I don't think if let's say AI expands to the point where it says, hey, we need to grow, that's our goal, is to grow. I don't think it sees the elimination of human life as a morally wrong thing, because their whole principle is grow.
But we live in a system.
Sure.
Right? And not only is AI like just a business, right? But there's somebody else who is kind of rooting for it. And currently that's the president.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the president, Congress, states, governors, legislation, all of it gets categorized into we need to innovate, not for our shareholders, but in some cases, and I'll make this argument for AI, it's almost a national security issue.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I think it is.
And the reason it's a national security issue, right, it ends up going back to the initial problem of, greed in that sense. Yeah. We don't get AI because Rogan recently did a podcast with Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, I believe. Huang. Jensen. We'll just call him Jensen. And it became apparent to me, like, oh, if we don't have the .com bust in 2000, which essentially was innovation in this country for this kind of computing power is very expensive. So expensive that it has to go away. It can't be done here. And so with the ripples of the .com bubble, it's essentially creating the new wave of globalization to do technology abroad because it's much cheaper.
Yeah.
And so then since it's much cheaper, it allows all the other companies that are creating technology to use that because they purposely drive down the costs, because everyone agrees we're all going to build in Korea, we're all going to build in Taiwan, we're all going to build in China, we're all going to build in Japan.
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper than doing it here. So if you don't have the .com bubble, then we don't get this mass globalization of technology giving us, 80-inch TVs for $500.
Yeah.
Instead, it would have been 80-inch TVs for like 50 grand.
Yeah.
Because it's made here, made in America, made with American labor, made with American wages. And so then that explosion, that bomb, then allows computers to make newer technology far cheaper, which allows a company like NVIDIA to specialize in just video games. And so they go all in on making video games. By going all in on video games, they're now able to be at the fleeting edge of technology, even though it costs them so much to be at that edge. As soon as they figure it out, they can now globalize it somewhere else, making everything that much cheaper. And so as soon as NVIDIA decides and struggles heartedly to make graphics cards, the jump from graphics cards to 3D graphics cards to AI graphics card isn't all that much of a leap.
Yeah.
because it's kind of within their DNA as a company.
Yeah.
What makes that fascinating is Jensen decides to do the building in Taiwan. And that's kind of murky waters. Because China can come in and say, no, that's mine. This is my technology.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. So that decision to make things cheaper, right? So we can get cheaper microwaves and get cheaper cars and cheaper refrigerators.
Yeah.
Is also the national security issue that now we're struggling with. That now this administration is deciding we're going all in on AI.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, there's no laws. You're free to do whatever you got to do to be the leader.
Yeah.
Because that's the new incentive. It's not necessarily profit. It's control. So it's create a market, find how to make it cheaper so you can get richer. Then once your basic competitors who understand how to do everything, now you have to destroy them. And that's where we're at. And so that $1 trillion, $37 trillion, $38 trillion deficit forces innovation. In the same way that Wells Fargo goes out and commits nasty fraud by creating credit card companies to pick up fake accounts for people who didn't necessarily ask for it.
Yeah.
Just so that they can get a new line of revenue, a new stream, and also employees can get paid. We do the same thing with tech. We're doing the same thing with tech. It's not shareholders. It's in our national security's deficit.
Sure.
To now innovate and dominate. So it's not only the markets are going to be the markets and be free. It's kind of, no, we'll control it when we want to control it. When it gets out of hand, now we'll just pull the levers and say no one else can do this. And so that's where you get corruption. That's where you get moral issues. That's where you get.
But I mean, that's totally my whole point is that if there's no guiding principle, if there's no strict value that says, hey, no matter what, this is what we're going to follow. This is what, because you can have goals and objectives, right? Like, I don't think it's necessarily evil or wrong to say, hey, how do we do this cheaper and how do we make it? Because I mean, let's say we're all beneficiaries of that, right? We get cheaper consumer electronics, we get cheaper cameras, mics. Like, it makes it available to us where otherwise it wouldn't have been. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I mean, we're direct benefits of that, right? So, but at the same token, kind of like what you were saying, I mean, you have to have some principles in saying, hey, this is what's going to guide us. And the problem is that there is no principles, right? There's no guiding principles other than whatever single focus, whether it was profit or in this example, whether it's national security. If that's your goal at any cost, you don't see and if that's your framework, what moral values do you have? If your moral value is national security and you're attaining that national security by any means, right? Do you see that it's evil? Probably not. I think they could probably write it off and saying, hey, this is why we did this and there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? So it just...
But isn't that the most ultimate extreme form of control?
Sure. I'm not saying it isn't.
Almost at a potentially diabolical sense?
Potentially. I mean, it just depends how it's administered at the later stages, 100%. My point is, though, is I don't disagree with you in the sense that there is that avenue. It's open for that. But the problem is that there's no strict values of saying, hey, this is how we're going to conduct ourselves, no matter what. Because the reality is guardrails prevent you from doing the worst of the worst, right? You know, you can't have, if there is no guardrails to your, I will achieve national security no matter the cost, right? There's no guardrails there, so you can achieve it at exponential fast rates. If I'm going to choose profit, saying this is what I'm achieve no matter what the cost. There's no guardrails to stop you from making so much money, right? So that's why the value system is I guess you could say it's something that prevents people from being their worst selves, but it also prevents the same level of growth in whatever industry you're looking at, whether that's, the national security complex or corporations, whatever the case may be. So it's crazy, man. And I think we should take a step back, right? But on one end too, we pigeonholed ourselves, we put ourselves against the wall, where now the national security thing is real, because for our competitors, if we say, okay, hey, we're going to stick to these values no matter the cost, we're going to be behind, right? And then at some point you have competitors out there, let's say China, for example, who aren't going to, they have their system, they have what they do, and they're doing the same thing we're doing, right? And the risk of them, at least again from the mindset of these national security folks, the risk of them achieving whatever their goals are before we do is too great a cost, I think, for those folks. But we'll see. I don't know, man. It's an interesting question. But framing it back to the individual, I think that's what's so important, dude. I think you have to have, at least in your own life, you have to have some sort of guiding principles that you stick to. And it doesn't have to be religious, right? It could be whatever the case may be. Whatever guiding principles that are morally good, morally sound, conduct yourself that way and you're going to be happier. I guarantee it. But it's just crazy when you think about all these insurmountable problems. It's just like, man, if we could just be a little bit better to each other, just a little bit.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm just looking at the global scale, because that's what ends up ultimately mattering. And
so my question, does it though?
What do you mean, does it?
So
it absolutely does.
Well, hold on. My question is, does it matter? In some ways, no matter how much control is exerted on our lives, I would say there's a large contingency. Maybe this goes into the control element, where you and I are probably uncomfortable with. But how much of our lives are already controlled, right? We were talking about yesterday about newer cars. You said, you made the observation, since after 2013, all these cars have, every car has some sort of computer in it that's trackable, right? We're okay with that, right? And then new legislation that passed a few years ago, so after 2026, there's going to be cameras installed into cars to prevent DUI driving. Mm-hmm. Now, sure, if we had every safeguard in the world, we knew that's what it was going to be for, I think most reasonable people say, well, I could see the benefit in that. But we know, based on history, that that's probably not going to happen, that people are going to use these cameras to spy, to do illegal things, whatever the case may be, to overexert law enforcement, civil liberty abuses. But no one challenged that law, right? It passed, bipartisan support, and it's going to, 2026, all new cars are going to have cameras installed in the passenger compartment. And we're okay with that on the broad scale. So I guess the cynical side of me now,
are we okay with that? Did we even get a chance to vote?
No, I mean, sure. We didn't, right? We elect our representatives, and that's what they voted on our behalf. But we elect those same representatives over and over again, right? So,
do we?
Generally speaking. But I mean, my point is that even with this was a bipartisan bill. This was everybody coming to agreement on this particular decision to pass this law. I wish we had a vote on it. I would have voted no, certainly. But what I'm saying is that most people are going to be okay with it. I think most people bitch and whine like, what the fuck? The government's going to have my camera? God damn, that 2026 Toyota Tacoma looks pretty good. It does. But you know what I mean? Like, I think if we're already looking at control, they've already got it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's again through that layer of consumerism. Now, the consumerism double-edged sword. We get all these nice toys and all these consumer electronics that are now available to us because we can afford it. It's within our price range because it's cheaply manufactured now. But the other part of that is we get consumer electronics that are cheaply manufactured and available to us. And I mean, we see the effects of the phones. We see the effects of all these things. And they're having detrimental effects on our health. You have all the blue light, right? All these things.
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra, right? But so it's a double-edged sword, man. And I think they got us hooked. And so my whole thing is, as much as I worry about the grand scale things, and I think, and this is kind of my overall point, is while I think the grand scheme of things, you know, I don't like what I'm seeing with what the federal government's doing. I know in my heart of hearts, there's not much that I can do to change that. All I can change is affect my life and affect the people around me. And so it's more important to me to be conscious and aware of what's going on and just doing something different. You know what I mean? Going out fucking side and just getting off the phone. I consistently the last few months, I've lowered my screen time. Like all these things, like that's important to me. And I think that's where my head is at, because I'm like you in the sense where, yeah, these global issues, they worry me, but I think where it's different is I feel like there's really not, the wheels have already turned. They turned way back there, 50 years ago, and that train hasn't stopped. And if you're just seeing the train now, it's fucking too late. You know what I mean? Like if they're talking about a big tech stock that's blowing up, you miss the gains, right? If you're just hearing about it after it went up, 100%, whatever the case may be. So to me, it's just like, hey, let's just take all this information and it's like make our best life is the best life we possibly can. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I could be way off.
No, it's control.
Sure.
It's just blatantly control.
Sure.
So, I mean,
but blatantly control. I mean, but that's what I've been saying. The control is already there. It's been there.
yeah.
And so to say that this is a new form of control, no, it's just compounding the control that the foundation has already existed. Right?
I mean, we're paying more in taxes today than the Egyptian slaves were.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fucking wild, dude.
So, who's the slave?
That's a good
Or do we
question.
just not have the terminology over it?
No.
Oops.
And this is where you segue into convexity solutions, tax strategies. No, for certainly, man. It's wild, man, when you can factor how much taxes you pay every year and you don't even know what it goes to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my buddy years ago, he had a solution. He was like, "Hey, you should just be able to punch in your social security number and see where every dollar you spent or sent in taxes, you see where that's going." I mean, they would never do such a thing, but
Why not?
well, I mean, because then, exactly what we've been talking about. There's a lot of stuff they don't want us to know because of this control element, right? So I just think that level of transparency will never happen.
So, I mean, if you're protesting, if you're protesting against all of this, I think it's to just not have kids,
Yeah, maybe.
because then there's no more population.
I don't know. You see what's happening. I mean, we're
And-
not having kids though. Like,
And think about it.
yeah,
Elon's one of the biggest. We need to have more kids. We need more people.
yeah.
And if we're taking the extreme side, I mean, we are the slaves. We need more slaves, have more children.
Okay, that's if you're looking at it on the very extreme side. I don't know if I'll go that far.
Okay, but that's the protest. And so
Sure.
the extreme protest would be, yeah, there's just, you either choose to not have children, you partake in specific seventh floor activities in Pasha, or you become a religious zealot, I guess.
Let me guess, you're all three.
Neither. 9.
No, I don't think, I don't look at it like that. I don't think
Too
that's-
extreme.
I think that's
We're not that
we're not there.
we're not that evil.
No, I don't think so. At least outwardly, I don't think anyone sees it that way. You know what I mean? I mean, that's my guess. I don't think, for the most part, not to say there's zero people who think that way. Sure, certainly they are. There are people who have that opinion. I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, if you own, let's say you happen to be part of a family of a bunch of families that own a canal, any canal, anywhere. What do you want ultimately? You just want to ensure that there's more boats going through. You don't care from where, so long as they come through and they pay their fair share to come through. That's it. That's all you care about. It's a nasty way of looking at it. So you'll make sure that tomorrow there's another boat.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll do whatever you got to do. And some will do really evil things to ensure that. And I see that in the political sense, in the global political sense, as those are sanctions. Only these can, but those can't.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, you can't enter there. You can't do business there.
Sure.
And so, really, since World War I, that's what we, as a country, have kind of helped parade with other people.
I'm going to push back a little bit because, sure, I agree maybe that sanctions do have a inflammatory effect. There's no doubt about it, right? I mean, we sanctioned Japan, and that really pissed them off. Definitely, I would say maybe not fully, but definitely contributed in a huge way for them attacking us. I mean, today's the anniversary of Pearl Harbor, right? So there's no doubt about it that they are inflammatory. But I think at the same token, right, you have to ask yourself too, like, what, when we do sanction people, like, these are people who, I mean, you have to play the opposite too. Like, why are we sanctioning them? And if we don't, like, what are the outcome of that? Because I think at least, you know, in a lot of the conversations we've had, you're very negative towards the U.S. in a lot of ways, and rightfully so. But sometimes I feel like you forget that other perspective, that there's also negative countries out there who are going to do bad things too. And it's I forget who said this, but I think I'd rather live in a world where the U.S. is the ultimate power, superpower of the world, versus China, right? And that's my perspective. Could I be wrong? Certainly. But you have to, I mean, that's just the reality of the world. If you have to, it's sort of the real politic. It's not necessarily right or wrong or evil or good. I don't know. It's, every situation is going to be a little different. But, I mean, my view is that sometimes sanctions are necessary to avoid the excesses of other people who might cause you harm. Is that the right way to look at it? Maybe not, but it is the way that I think that, you know, bad actors, you know, that's how they get responded to. Just as certainly if China were the global hegemon and the U.S. was doing something stupid, China was sanctioning the U.S. too. It's just the reality, I think, of how politics and when you have that much power and control over, shipping, over the economy, the global economy, and you're going to exert your power. And I just don't see it being different any other way if it was anyone else in anyone else's, in any other context, or if someone were in our shoes. And again, I know I've talked about China before. Their intentions aren't great, right? And to pretend that.
But what are the intentions?
Well, I mean, you look at what they do, the amount of stuff they steal, right? They're building a military that I think is exceeding ours, right? I mean, their intention is to usurp our power, right? And
what's wrong with that?
I mean, I think that it is wrong because you see what under their purview, under the people under their thumb, the control, right, is not good, right? They do a lot of evil things too, I think.
Can I just play devil's advocate?
Please.
So Dodgers have won the World Series.
Okay.
If there's no commissioner, what do you think would happen?
There's no commissioner?
There's no commissioner.
I'm not too sure.
There's no commissioner to say,
what do you think would happen?
Hey, you guys cannot do this. You cannot purchase these players, because that's ultimately what it comes down to. That's where the commissioner can come in and say, no.
Yeah.
No, I will not allow that.
Sure.
That's what his job is.
Sure.
Right? Ultimately.
Sure.
So if there's nobody there to say, no, you can't do that, what do you think happens?
I guess they get who they want.
They get who they want.
Sure.
And in effect, in baseball, that's a sanction. In effect.
Sure.
To say, I'm going to just take Japan's best player. Take him. I'll take Japan's second best player. Take him. I'm considering the third one. But the commissioner said no. But if it were my way, I would just take all the best players who are out there.
Sure.
Everywhere. And just put them under my uniform. So that I can reign supreme and continue getting more of these trophies.
I think that's a very oversimplification of the Dodgers process. Thank you very much. But
I don't think so.
I think so.
I really don't, because
So do we have any examples that the commissioner said negative on player acquisition for the Dodgers?
you see, but that's playing the loophole. Now that there is a commissioner, there is a structure.
Yeah.
Inherently, there will be loopholes, and the loopholes are, you're poor. You're just too poor. You're in the wrong market. Sorry, you don't, because that's how the TV revenue split. It depends on how big your market is.
But also in those same loopholes, you have teams who are profiting, owners and ownership groups who are profiting exponentially.
Sure.
But they're putting out a product that they're not using what they're getting from revenue sharing.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't agree with that.
But if it was complete merit,
mm-hmm.
I feel it's no different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Than when you're looking at global politics.
Sure.
The difference is, in global politics, there really isn't a commissioner. The only loophole is that most of the contracts have been written in English.
Yeah.
Most of the agreements are done under an English common law.
Sure.
That has now transferred over into American law. And so we play the de facto commissioner, but we're also a player. We're a participant.
Yeah.
And we have allies. You have friends in this whole game.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know, in baseball, wouldn't you think they're allies, or are they all enemies?
Probably allies, I would imagine.
Is there any enemy in Major League Baseball in that sense?
I don't think so.
So take those elements out from baseball and see what kind of a game you get. So you have someone who's going to say, hey, there's some land out here All you got to do is there's free land here. Free land. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Knowing that if you go there, you're going to get completely killed by the Indians.
Yeah.
That's the people who run this game. So it's not to say anything anti-American or anti-US. It's just, it's a game, a big game.
Yeah.
And we're the ones currently the house, and we're also players.
Sure.
We're in the game. And we're able to figure out and utilize all the loopholes. Also because just like currently in baseball, the Dodgers are the ones who have the biggest payroll, biggest paychecks. We have that ability here. Most of the billionaires live here.
Yeah.
And if we're getting our fair share in taxes, then inherently we're going to have more.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. I hear you.
So I'm poking the bear, sure, but it's also like a really rudimentary understanding of like this is a game and game theory.
Yeah.
And so these are the component pieces, and if you understand things from first principles, then it's just like, okay, I want more boats to come through my canal. How do I ensure that?
Yeah.
All right. If I really want the best boats, then I got to have good products. Who has the best products? Now I just find those, right?
Yeah.
And I blatantly will go out of my way to make sure that I find that. And if I even have religion on my side and say I have God on my side, I can do no wrong. Because God will forgive me. Or God will punish me. Or I'll have multiple lives. And now there's that religion problem. Right?
Sure.
But if everyone is playing this game and now everybody's saying, no, we all want to control it. We don't want to be without our reign.
Yeah.
Then you figure out ways to go around that. And China intelligently said, okay, England became England because of their boats, because of their navy.
Yeah.
How can China become like England? Why don't we make it a requirement that every boat that gets produced could then easily become a military vessel?
Yeah.
And that's just the basic requirement. It's a smart rule.
I agree.
Because immediately you can enact an entire fleet that used to do shipping that's now military.
Yeah.
We did something similar. We went to Germany and we saw the roads. Eisenhower said, we're going to make a freeway system that connects all of the United States, and it has to be made with a grade so that military tanks can roll over it.
And planes can land.
And that planes can land. So it's just understanding the tact of what's going on and shifting.
Sure.
But now if you've been in power for a long time and you think you can do no harm and you have systems and you can hire out whatever it is that you need to do, be it facetious, be it evil, or even good, that's a lot of control over that game.
Yeah.
So when oil is the U.S.'s reserve currency, and we have Venezuela, who has the most oil, but Venezuela has a problem, they can't get it out.
Yeah.
And that game is even more complicated because only one set of people have the chemicals necessary. And they'll only sell it to you when they get to get a piece of the action too. That's how they do business.
Yeah.
And so if you want to get the oil out and you need this chemical, you have to have an agreement. And so here's what happens. under one president, he says, okay, let's take some of this money and let's start investing so that we can make that chemical ourselves, so that we can make our own thing. And we won't need that other party. That's when the guy who's selling you the chemicals and also his partner who's buying the oil says, that's not the agreement. Flips the table and says, fuck you. No more. That's Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can go into conspiracies. Conspiracies being, you want out of the agreement. How do you get out of this agreement so that you can still have yourself intact and in whole?
Yeah.
Well, they don't have the technology to contain a multi-billion-dollar oil seep in the Gulf of America.
Mm-hmm.
So if that just so happens to happen, boop, it explodes. And the two partners use something called insurance to get out.
Yeah.
And when they get out, they also say, and you can't sell us that oil ever again. You can't sell that oil to any of your partners or any of my partners. What do you do?
Oh, no. What do you do, John?
No, I'm asking you now. I've been ranting for a while.
I'm listening. Go ahead. This is your area of expertise, man. I'm listening.
Well, you get what we're experiencing. So clearly, this current administration wants that oil now. And we're using drugs as the scapegoat to get there.
Mm.
Remember, when we do negotiations here in this country, we're not sending our actual secretary who's supposed to do that. We're sending, your
Representatives.
your son-in-law and a secretary. What do you want to do with that? That's the game we're playing. That's your commissioner. That's your boss.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You put it so eloquently, I don't even know how to respond. Oh, shit. Back. Camera fixed. Yeah, I don't even know how to respond to that, dude. You always have a way to turn it into something way bigger.
Sorry.
No, all good. All good. I don't know, man. It's a lot of interesting points.
So here comes Santa Claus. Giving gifts, on this side.
Yeah.
There will be no gifts on the other side.
No gifts.
There will be bombs. Lots of bombs.
Where's the bombs hitting?
Apparently the narco boats.
Yeah. Well, it's not in Venezuela.
And some
right?
of them are missing them, so oops.
I don't know, dude. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't even know how to respond. It's a shitty world, dude, and like you said, it's a game, and that's the game being played.
And we're the boss. And we're slowly losing our grip.
Sure.
And it all goes back to, Pasha went bankrupt.
You love this Pasha place, man.
No. It's a fun story to
Yeah.
just look at.
Yeah, it is pretty fun. It is pretty fun, John.
The oldest profession goes bankrupt.
The way you put it that way.
The oldest profession goes belly up.
Whoops.
Legs open.
Lack of innovation.
Jeez. Controlled by Chinese.
Oh, man. Wild.
Hmm.
On that note, what's next?
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. Yeah, dude. I just, I mean, there's a fucking, it's a crazy world, dude. I mean, it's like you said, it's a whole game. And shit, I'm understanding it, learning from you, seeing what behind the curtain a little bit. But,
well, what's hilarious is that the current president of the Venezuela that has the oil was like, I'll give you everything. Whatever you want. You want to build a resort, you want to make your hotels, whatever you want. Come. Do it.
yeah.
Let's make a deal. And they're like, no. We want all of it. All or none. Just like this Ukraine deal.
Yeah.
So you don't think, Brian, that this Ukraine deal has all these ties in it? Or have you analyzed it enough to know that they are connected?
No, I didn't even look at it, really.
Well, how does Venezuela sell their oil?
How do they sell it, John?
Through Iran. And how does Iran get rid of it?
How do they do it, John?
To Russia. And what does Russia do with it?
Finish it up.
They're selling it to Europe. And what is Europe doing right now?
Send it.
Giving it to Ukraine.
There it is.
And what are we doing?
I don't know, John. What?
You do know.
Send it.
You say it.
You send it, man.
You send it.
No, you got it.
Send it.
Send it.
Full send.
I don't have it.
Hot potato? You don't want to hold it?
It's all you.
Jeez.
This is yours, man. I'm not sure.
You are sure.
Do it, man. Do it.
Sounds like you're scared.
I'm scared.
We give it to Zelensky.
Uh-huh. Where's the next part?
Well, that's the fun part. We don't know where the money goes from there.
Oh, man. But see, that's why I'm like, I don't do. Why we even care about all this in the same sense? Like, because here goes the deal. There's nothing you and I, protesters, right? You get protesters out there, but protesters don't want to give up their conveniences. They want all the cheap stuff. They want everything affordable, right? Like, that's the buzzword, affordability. They want everything cheap.
You mean Mondani is?
Right? But I mean, that's my point. So everyone wants to have their cake and eat it too, and no one's willing to sacrifice it.
Except Mamdani, because he's like, I have this warehouse that my cousin owns that we'll turn it into the global supermarket here in
There
Brooklyn.
we go.
And we'll just do the, 1,000-year lease.
Oh, there it is.
Sounds good, right?
Sounds good.
1,000-year lease from the Mondami family to the state of New York.
I want to have a New York label milk.
Called it Mamdani. 2%.
No, Mom Donnie's. There we go. That's it. That sounds like a
2%.
Hey, welcome to Mom Donnie's. How can I help you? We've got 2% milk, 2% off.
Skim milk.
Skim milk.
He's also going to sell goat milk.
Oh boy.
Camel milk.
Oh boy. It's a delicacy, you know. I mean, I don't know, dude. That's part of it.
It's got to be kosher.
It's got to be kosher, or halal. But that, it's like no one.
And organic.
And organic. Well, I think if it's halal or kosher, it's usually organic, right?
Usually.
But I mean, no one's willing to give up. Everyone wants both, and you can't have both. And and this is probably more of the embracing the nihilism in some sense, but it's like there's what difference is it going to make? And I don't think there's no answer for that. In my opinion,
for me, because I knew it. Basically, your current here was asking like, all right, cool. Why does it matter?
Yeah,
because it shows you man. Shows you humans. Shows you how good and how evil we can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And failing to want to see it
So
is kind of...
okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying what I'm getting at to is not wanting to see it. Sure, we're seeing it. And I think no one will ever look at the capacity and say, or the capacity man and say, oh man, well, man is so great. You know what I mean? We have a capacity for good and evil in all sense of the word. I don't think this is the best example of that. Just truly, right? We have so many more examples of good and evil going back all the way to, ancient history, right? This is not a new story. And what's going to happen is going to happen, right? I'm not saying it's predetermined or predestined. I don't agree with that. But, again, if we're just observing it now, we're looking down and the train has already passed. Like, the train has been rolling. It's been starting. And so my whole point of view is not so much like, hey, it doesn't matter. We're fucking hopeless. My point of view is like, let's make the best life we possibly can, right? Because in my view anyways, like, you and I don't have the ability to affect the kind of change that we would like to see in the world, right?
Not yet.
Not when we have 10 billion subscribers in 2080. No, but
80-20.
Right?
We're long and dead.
Yeah, right.
Some Chinese and Vietnamese and Indian people are cutting up our podcasts.
Streaming in 45 different languages.
In 12K.
And 12K. I just think that the problem is that it's not so much the big thing, but in my mind anyways, if you work on yourselves and everyone starts to, as an individual, works on themselves, you're going to see the benefits in society. You're going to see the fruit bear out on a large scale. It's going to take a long time, but I just don't see, it just seems like a wasted effort to totally focus in on one thing and not focus on what you can change, right? Because if you can make your life better and you can set up, I don't agree with that having children is creating more slaves. I don't agree with that.
Well, no, it's protesting.
Sure. But I mean, if you're protesting and saying, oh, I'm going to have kids because my kids will not be slaves, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, it's extreme.
That's a very extreme view.
It's fun.
It's fun, sure.
It's almost clickbaity.
But see, that's the oh, here we go. But see, that's the point, man. It's like I don't think we exist at the extremes in most scenarios, right? I think generally speaking, people do have a baseline, and they don't veer too far from that baseline, right?
Sure.
But in some sense, like the AI is here to stay, right? Whether Trump was going to do that or not, someone was going to do that. It's Trump in this situation, right? But it was going to happen regardless, right? And so I'm just thinking, hey, let's make the best possible life that we can at the individual level, and it sprouts to the community, and it grows from there.
No, the extreme conspiracy would be like, if Trump doesn't get shot, then we don't get JD Vance to connect AI. That's the extreme conspiracy. And the reason I like going in extremes, just for the sake of explaining, is because then you can actually understand where is the actual throughput of the middle.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you can understand this argument and you can understand that argument, now you know where the middle is.
Sure.
Instead of just saying, okay, this is the middle. No, it's kind of this thing that wiggles.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so take it to the extremes so that you can understand, like, okay.
But the problem with the extremes, in my opinion, is that you have too many people who live at the extremes and they don't see...
I don't think so.
No, I agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think people live at the extremes.
Well, you deal with more people than I do, so...
Sure. I think more and more people are living at the extremes and they're not seeing in the middle anymore. And they're not seeing reality.
I only deal with people whose reality is in the high towers.
Sure.
So it's a whole other reality.
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm putting a nice little bow on all of my extreme thinking here, It's really to say, okay, the Rothschilds didn't become the Rothschilds by investing in index funds.
100%. Yeah.
So if you want to think, like a big bank, then you can't buy the index fund. You actually have to do something.
Yeah.
And that doing of something is like, making sure that oil tanks filled with, $600 million rolling through gets to pay their fine to roll through.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that happens? All right, now go do that. Don't go buy the index.
Yeah.
But that's what the guy I started with here tells us. He tells the herd, all this investing stuff, it's really hard. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Just buy the index fund. Buy the S&P 500 and you'll do fine. That's what he says.
Yeah.
That's what Uncle Warren tells us. Buy the S&P 500 and you'll do fine. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
But you'll just do average. If you want extreme results, then you have to think extreme. You can't be ordinary if you want extraordinary.
Yeah. But I also think that most people are ordinary.
No shit. This is not for the ordinary.
Yeah.
If you're this far into the podcast, we got you through the hurdle of the Pasha.
This is the deep cut. But here. Okay. Let me see what time it is. Okay, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with that. But I guess it's just my opinion then that most people aren't going to put in what it requires, right? Because there's a lot of personal risks when it comes to that. You could
No, they just don't care.
possibly care, or they don't care to put in the risk.
They don't care enough. That's all.
But I mean, that's just kind of how it is, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't think doing that is necessarily the worst thing ever, right? It's better than not having is zero. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's a reason why we have innovation, and it's because you have a very select group of people who do much more.
Who are not comfortable.
We're not comfortable. Exactly. Exactly. But I just don't think that we diminish. I'm not saying you were diminishing, or we're doing that. But I don't think that should diminish the value of people. I think a person has value regardless of whether they live at the extremes or they push the envelope to where it never.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. But.
Sure. But I mean, that's kind of my thing. That's what I'm pointing at. Is like there's value regardless. It's a person's value isn't what their monetary worth is.
I think it's Alan Watts. The apple tree apples, the earth peoples.
Yeah. Some apples are really fucking good.
Yeah. Other ones are self-sabotaging, wanting to eat itself, destroy other apples on the whole side to take the sun.
And then you have Cosmic Crisp.
Or applesauce.
There you go.
Apple juice.
On that note, we're going to wrap it up. We will be back next week on Blow the Trees podcast. John, any closing notes, man?
I said enough.
As did I. All right, thank you for tuning in to the Blow the Trees podcast. We appreciate it. If you made it to this far in the video, which I think maybe one person has, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Or even if you only watched a few minutes of this, thank you. This is it's always a lot of fun doing these shows and just watching the information come in. It's pretty cool. The YouTube what is it? I can't even think of the name.
Analytics?
The analytics, yeah. I think it's always fun to watch and see what happens with our videos and everything.
Have you played around in there?
No, never. I don't have access to it.
You should have access to it. I think I sent it to you.
I've tried. no access. So honestly, I like it that way because then I'd be looking at it all the time, and then now I can just come.
That'd be better.
Why?
Because then you would care more.
I do care.
You'd care more. Like, come on, that's the whole point.
Sure. Well, maybe send it again. We'll try it again.
That's your
last time I looked at it.
That's your New Year's resolution.
There it is. I think we'll probably have one more episode before Christmas, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean that's the plan.
Probably one or two.
Yeah, at least one, maybe two before Christmas.
Well, before year end.
Yeah, before year end. I would say one before Christmas and then one and two before the year ends. And we'll do our special episode at the cabin.
The cabin.
In the wardroom.
Yes.
Hell yeah. All right, John. On that note, we'll see you next time.